Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Power Creep. Today we are looking at the T26E5 Patriot, or in other words, the better Carnival, or the Caravan, as I like to call it. The new Tier 8 American Premium. Got all the flags and shit that you can't see here, because we're obviously looking at the armor. And when we talk about armor, have a pretty decent upper hull, 152 angled at around 40 degrees, gives you around 200 effective armor, something like that, depends on the range and on the angle, of course. Lower plate, also not too terrible. I mean, 101 and slightly, well, I also angled to like 50 degrees, so 150 armor is not too bad for a lower plate like this. You got some spots with the armor being much better as well. It is not a good lower plate, but at the same time, this tank is rather mobile, so you kind of expect that anyways. When we come to the turret, completely different picture here. So you have a 279 gun mantlet, which is massive, no holes in it whatsoever. There's something here, but I mean, yeah, like 3 pixels, good luck fucking hitting that. The turret itself, also pretty strong. There is some weaker parts here closer to the gun mantlet, but if you miss to one side or the other side, you're likely to just not pen anyways. So turret is really good. The cupola isn't really a proper weak spot. It is weaker, obviously, so if you're shooting this with like a tier 8, you have a chance to pen it, but it's also angled, and missing this is not gonna be too hard as well. You do have this top of the roof stuff here, which is like 177 armor, but that is angled as well. So the turret is pretty good. It's not as good as on the T32, but it is definitely very good still. The side armor, you get 76 to the front and 51 to the back. Can't really... Well, these tanks can side strip like any other American tank can, because they have these super wide tracks and people tend to shoot these a lot, and obviously they're not gonna pen shit until you expose either too much angle or they hit these parts here in a closer angle. But yeah, the armor overall pretty fucking good. Let's look at the gun depression. So you have 10 all around, really solid, no penalties to the back of the tank, so that is nice as well, and 20 degrees of gun elevation. That being said, let's get into the replay. So here's the game, pretty light tier 8 matchmaking this time. Also Haluf, one of the best map, or El Haluf, one of definitely the best maps for a tank like this. But as always, before we get into too much action, let's talk about the stats. 1500 hit points, 390 view range, top speed forwards 40, backwards 15, power to weight 15.26, tank traverse 30, turret traverse 25. When we come to the firepower, you have 2000 DPM, 240 damage per shot, 230 penetration, aiming time 2.3, accuracy 0.38, with not the greatest substats, but they're not too terrible either. The tank's price in gold is 9,700, which makes it one of the cheapest heavy tanks at tier 8 in the game. Only think the KV5 is cheaper than this, which makes this a pretty good value per money premium tank for sure. So this tank is pretty damn straightforward. You just go to a hull down position, and then you sit in that hull down position and shoot people in the face from that hull down position while trying to dodge arty. This game there is 2 of those as well. And yeah, the first peek here on the chrome will track him with the first shot, and he is pretty much dead if he doesn't repair that. Well, maybe not necessarily, because I can't really track him and do damage there again. Bounce the first shot as well there as the tiger. Well, he had a chance to pen me when I wasn't looking his way, but that wasn't for too long. Now the enemy E5 is crossing as well, the little E5. I mean, I don't even know how to, well, I guess I just called this Patriot, why the fuck not. Another client there on that side, track the Skoda as well. As you see, the gun is handling reasonably well, to say the least. I don't think I missed a shot in this game yet, and we have been violently traversing our turret to get some of these shots as well. Now our next customer here is the IS-6. If you want to cross this open field, you're gonna get shot by me for sure. And I was trying to nail the tracking shot there, but the road wheel on the IS-6 is really small. On the super brushing, however, it is not so small. And now, I mean, if I land this shot, he's dead. And you know what the funny part is? He could not have done anything about it. Once he decided to cross that field, he was dead to my tracking. And I can just sit here and take these shots because I know my turret can easily handle it, and he's never gonna repair this. This tank has a reload time around 6 seconds, which is on par with the tier 8 mediums. That is unfortunate, but it seems that the RD retracked him there anyway, so it is not the end of the world. And we do get another shot in there, and 2 shots later, this guy is going to be dead. This obviously does not get preferential matchmaking, as that is a thing of past, but to be fair, it doesn't really need one either. 230 pen on the gun like this is reasonably competitive even with tier 9s and 10s. Surely, I mean, you don't really want to fuck with tier 10 heavy tanks, but at the same time, this tank is mobile enough to play as a medium in those types of games, so it is actually not that bad. Now this IS-6 decided to feed me some more, and I'm completely happy to oblige his wishes there. Easy tracking shot into, what, 3 more tracking shots, so, you know, business as usual here, and already picks up the kill there. Well, as I said, the super pushing really didn't stand the chance the second he decided to cross that field. The IS-6 was a bit of a dummy and was angling horribly and giving me his road wheel, so I took full advantage of that. Now these KV2s, I could have gone for the tracking shot there. Maybe I would have gotten 2 in if I did that, but that did not happen, and now we are just waiting. Seems that the Tiger 2 wants a taste of this as well, but he realizes that it's not gonna be a good position to fight me from, especially because we do also have 2 RDs, and he is not gonna live for very long if he decides to fight me there. Still haven't taken any damage, and it's gonna be hard to keep it that way, as obviously the KV2s are kind of good at dealing damage, at least little amount of damage with each shot they fire, unless you're made out of paper. Killed enemy Patriot with, again, a violent turret traverse snapshot. So as you can see, this gun handles really well in these kind of medium ranges. The accuracy isn't the greatest, 0.38, but as we saw in the previous replay that I did on YouTube with the IS-2, accuracy isn't that much of a big deal. Do track this KV2 and might get the shot in, but sadly 230 pen isn't enough to pen the mighty KV2. Soon it's gonna be time to push up. I mean, not quite. Once the Oni takes a hit or 2, I'm definitely gonna push forwards, but at this point I still don't want to overcommit here. They still might have that Bulldog somewhere waiting for me as well, but the KV2s are firing, so I should be able to push up and do some damage here, hopefully for free. But this is not a good angle, as the other KV2 has not fired yet. I'm gonna just peek up on the top of this hill. I mean, this isn't particularly great angle in general, just because you can see that my hull is kind of exposed, and this might have gone much worse for me than it did. I mean, it's very unlikely he could have penned me there, but I did take a pretty shitty risk there that he might have. Them shooting me in the turret obviously doesn't do too much. 230 damage for like, what, 20-second reload, that's just fine with me, but giving my side of the hull is definitely not the smart thing to do here. Now 1 KV2 down, another one to go. Complete potato aim by me there, but we still should be. As you can see, the mobility of this tank is great as well. You just can't drive backwards away from threats like this KV2. Not gonna keep that going forever, but we do only take 270 damage once again, and do nail the shot there as well. So KV2 is a one-shot, we should easily be able to deal with that now as well. Not really much of a match for this tank, these KV2s, even though, you know, both of them together did quite a significant amount of damage to me, but to be fair, I wasn't playing that all that well there at all. And now the last guy on the flank, the Tiger 2, we do get splashed by a tier 8 RD that has a splash damage as big as that, which is of course hilarious. And here the backwards gun depression come in handy as well. So yeah, pretty much a cleanup of an entire flank. We got 4 kills, couldn't gun 5 if the RD didn't kill the IS-6 just before I was ready to fire, but that isn't really all that important anyways. So as you can see, this tank's potential hull down is pretty fucking insane. Obviously, top tier game, playing against not the greatest players in the world, but hey, World of Tanks is full of not the greatest players in the world, so games like this do happen. Not really much to say about this tank, but that it is much better than a lot of the regular tier 8s, like, you know, the Caravan, the VK45A, like all these heavy tanks that are completely outmatched by the amount of armor this thing has, the amount of speed this thing has, and the gun this thing has as well. So once again, great power creep by Wargaming here. And if you compare this to something like a Löwe, this thing is insane as well. I do get the ass of the Artie, so we might actually be able to finish him off and get the 5 kills if we can nail this shot. And we actually do, so that is the game. And here is the end plate. Ace Tanker, 3226 damage done, and high caliber. Ended up doing 6151 damage, 1054 assisted, and 1890 blocked by Armour, along with 5 kills and 1955 base experience. So is this thing worth the gold? Well, of course it is, because that's what power creep does. It makes things that are just flat out better than the old ones, and sells it for cheaper as well. So yeah, I mean, what is there to say? Definitely a top 5 premium at tier 8, if not a top 3. Only really rivaled by the AMX Liberty and the Scorpion. So yeah, please buy this tank to support Wargaming's greedy power creep tactics, and I'll see you on the next one.